Surprise, motherfucker.
Dexter Original Sin debuts in December, and with it we're sure to see some big twists and major ramifications for the franchise as a whole. Today on ScreenRant, let's take a look at what these could entail. So far we know surprisingly little about what Dexter Original Sin will unveil regarding young Dexter Morgan. The original show ran from 2006 to 2013 and was followed up in 2021 with the sequel series Dexter New Blood. That series seemingly ended our favorite serial killer's reign for good, leaving him dead in the snow. That ending left many fans cold, and so it should come as no surprise that just as he weathered the storm in the original series finale, he is now set to come back in Dexter Resurrection. However, whether he will be alive or simply Harrison's dark passenger is unknown. But back to Original Sin. We know that series is set in 1991 Miami, where Dexter is a freshly graduated young adult just starting out his internship in Miami Metro. He's joined by some returning characters, all of whom have been recast: his adoptive father Harry, his sister Deb, and work associates Angel Batista, Vince Masuka, Camilla Fig, and Maria LaGuerta. Also joining the cast of characters are Dexter's biological mother Laura Moser, his adopted mother Doris Morgan, and Laura's murderers, Hector Estrada and Santos Jimenez. We'll get back to those last two in a bit. Michael C. Hall will be the one returning cast member that we know of, as he will be narrating his younger self's misadventures. In addition to all those original series connections, there are also some notable newbies. Sarah Michelle Gellar plays Dexter's predecessor, CSI Chief Tanya Martin, while Patrick Dempsey plays Captain Aaron Spencer. Reno Wilson plays Harry's partner Bobby Watt, and Joe Pantoliano plays a new character we currently only know as Mad Dog. We don't have any theories about Mad Dog, but just the fact that Joe Pantoliano is joining the Dexterverse is very exciting. The first thing most Dexter fans will criticize about a prequel series is that they already saw how Dexter became a serial killer. Throughout the original show's 8 seasons, the audience was treated to a slew of flashbacks that filled in the blanks of Dexter's murderous persona and how it developed over time. With so many notable characters already recast, it would come as no great shock to see Denise Crosby's Nurse Mary portrayed by a new actress. In the season 1 episode Popping Cherry, we see Nurse Mary become Dexter's first kill. We know that this moment also takes place in 1991, and so it would be a crime to not include it as a bit of catch-up for newbies and old fans who may have forgotten the circumstances of Dexter's first foray into planned homicide. In the season 8 episode Every Silver Lining, Dexter is said to have killed an unnamed drug dealer sometime after Nurse Mary's death. If we do end up seeing Mary's demise revisited, then we will absolutely get a look at that murderer, and perhaps even a name to attach to Dexter's second victim. But of course, if we're going to delve into Dexter's past, then why not introduce a younger version of Dr. Evelyn Vogel? If you didn't make it to season 8, you might not know her name, but she was a major canonical part of Dexter's creation, as she is the one who convinced Harry to try and control Dexter's murderous inclinations and to develop his iconic code. However, that's all according to her. Perhaps Original Sin will expand on just how large a part she had in the formation of Dexter Morgan. With the negative reception of season 8, however, it's possible Original Sin could just avoid this controversial part of the story altogether. There's also the very strong chance that a younger version of Captain Thomas Matthews will show up. Back in September, news broke that actor Matthew William had joined the cast as an unnamed Miami Metro police officer. Fans immediately started speculating that he could be playing the future captain. But back to Vogel. During her introduction in season 8, she is noted by Captain Matthews as having previously worked with him on a case while most of those present were in high school. This puts whatever that case was very close to the events of Original Sin. One theory we're keen on is that the prequel series will delve deeper into Harry Morgan. While it's all well and good to see the highlights of young Dexter's early kills, we're pretty certain that the original sin of the title isn't even Dexter's. This isn't some big twist, of course, but it would make sense to go back and take a closer look at Harry Morgan's character's flaws and how they influence his decisions while guiding Dexter through young adulthood. This would tie in nicely with Vogel potentially returning and showing the audience how she and Harry initially met and came up with the code. The most fascinating casting choices have to be Hector Estrada, Santos Jimenez, and Laura Moser, three characters whose importance lay at the very beginning of Dexter's life. Hector Estrada was the one who ordered the killing of Laura Moser, which in turn set up Dexter as we know him. After the murder, Dexter and his brother Brian were left in the shipping container for 2 days until they were found. Detective Harry Morgan adopted Dexter. Brian wound up in a psychiatric hospital, and the rest is history. Estrada would eventually be taken down by Dexter in season 7, after he was released from prison. It would seem that we're going to get a lot more flashbacks concerning Estrada and Moser, as well as Estrada's associate Jimenez. In the original show, Moser is already dead while Estrada is in prison, while Jimenez is placed into witness protection until Dexter finds him in season 2. The most unlikely origin story to take place within Original Sin would be Sergeant James Dokes, whose distrust of Dexter ultimately led to Dokes' death at the hand of Mr. Morgan's then-girlfriend, Lila. His death is also what spurred LaGuerta to suspect Dexter's complicity in the Bay Harbor Butcher murders, in turn leading to her being killed by Deb in season 7. All this is to say that Dokes' distrust is a major influence within the franchise, and not just because he is the most memed character in the show. While Dokes has not been officially cast, nor is he even rumored to be in the series, it wouldn't be surprising to have him show up as a young police officer whose interactions with Dexter lead to his eventual demise. The question though is exactly what Dexter would have done to create such an animosity in the first place. While we believe that this is best left unexplored, it is enticing to consider the possibilities. What is the wrong brand of glazed donuts? As previously noted, Dexter has a 4th show, Resurrection, expected to debut in the summer of 2025. While we're not covering theories for that show in this video, we'd be remiss to not mention the possible connections between the two. With Dexter possibly alive and, well, following New Blood, it could very well be that the reason for Michael C. Hall's returning to voice young Dexter Morgan's inner thoughts is a connection in and of itself. What if Original Sin is simply Dexter's life flashing before his eyes while he bleeds out? Or better yet, what if it's him explaining his early years to someone like Police Chief Angela Bishop? While we trust the writer to come up with something a little more interesting, it's worth keeping in mind the proximity of the two shows and how they might suggest them being related. Of course, if we're seeing the inner workings of Harry, then that might also put a kibosh on this theory. This leads us to our big theory. The Dexter Original Sin will only be a single season long. While the travels of young Dexter through the 1990s certainly could be a fun premise, it feels as though Original Sin could simply be a bridge between New Blood and Resurrection. Part of this might just be that we can't imagine the producers wanting to create their own version of young Sheldon, but multiple seasons with a character whose fate is already known seems like a serious case of diminishing returns. But this is all speculation on our part. What do you think? Are we being primed for a mini-series about Harry Morgan's Original Sin? Is the show one and done? Thank you for watching Screen Rant, and stay tuned for more streaming news.